So, the 2024 election is finally over. What a past 4 years in this country. We had a pandemic, a lot of things happened, but now we had another election. Donald Trump, first president since Grover Cleveland, the second one all time to win an election, lose an election, then come back and win. So, Donald Trump will be your 2024 president. And this video is going to be based around why I think this election, we're going to look back in history in 20 years when we have kids and they're going to school in the history books. This will be known as the podcast election. And because the podcasts were a big part of this election, if you go all the way back to 1960, we learned about how that was the first televised presidential debate. Richard Nixon, John F. Kennedy, and so the tipping point for that election, why John F. Kennedy won, was he had debated Nixon, but Nixon was sweating on TV, and just Kennedy showed he was calm, cool, collected, and a better leader than Richard Nixon, which is why he won the 1960 election. But now, about 60 years later, almost, or more than 60 years, 64 years, if my math's correct, we have the podcast election and why podcasts are such a vital part of this election cycle. So starting with Kamala Harris, she lost the election, as you all know, got almost like basically a landslide to Donald Trump. And whether you like her or not as a candidate, she didn't really do that many interviews and she didn't go that many podcasts, and podcasts are going to be a huge thing moving forward for all candidates, I believe. Look at this. According to the 2024 Edison Research study, 59% of consumers in the US aged 12 to 34 had listened to a podcast in the last month. And in the same study, 55% of Americans aged 35 to 54 had listened to a podcast in the past month, and then 27% over 55. So 27%, you see that, like our parents' age, they still watch traditional cable news. We still have cable news today, but that's not what we're growing up with. I know me and my friends in my personal life, nobody watches CNN or Fox News, no matter where you fall on the political side of the spectrum. Podcasts, Twitter, other websites is where I get my news, and I know people my age are getting their news more than ever. Newspapers are dying too. I mean, we literally don't have physical newspapers that much anymore. It's all online. You got to pay for it. It's just not the same anymore. And I think podcasts were such a big shift because young people like me and others probably saw Donald Trump on so many podcasts and were like, huh, maybe this guy's not so bad. Whatever you think about him, he seems pretty cool on a podcast. Podcasts show authenticity, unscripted. They're unscripted interviews. You get to know the candidate or the person you're really speaking to. And Kamala Harris, I mean, she folded in that category. She only went on 4 total podcasts. Obviously, she was sworn into the campaign and to be the candidate because Biden dropped down in early July. But yeah, so she went on only 4 podcasts, I believe. So here we go, Call Her Daddy. And even though it's a woman's show, she did get a lot of hate. Like, look at these comments. And a lot of people said they're voting for Trump. And one of my favorite podcasts, and now I'll never listen to it again. Unbelievable, this person said. And speaking as a woman, I do not want Kamala to represent me. We can do better, and it's not our time. A better first female president will come along. She's not it. That got over 7,000 likes. So, and then this person says Kamala was the most unqualified candidate for president. So she only went on 4 podcasts, and she went on Call Her Daddy, as I just mentioned. She went on All the Smoke, Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, great basketball podcast, but they also interview kind of anyone. They're junkies for all different types of topics. But she went on there, and I didn't watch the interview, so she apparently laid out an economic plan to the host, particularly increasing fund for small businesses, which includes up to $50,000 in tax deductions, blah, 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 blah. She went on The Breakfast Club, Charlemagne, the God. Breakfast Club is a very popular radio show, and she went on there. And she went on Club Shay Shay, Shannon Sharp's podcast. So that's only 4. And she wanted to do Joe Rogan apparently, but Joe Rogan revealed that she wanted him to fly to her, and he only had 45 minutes of her time. So that was not what Joe wanted to do. Donald Trump, JD Vance both came in, gave a 3-hour interview, and whether you liked them or not, they showed why they won this election. They showed they were more authentic than Kamala Harris was, and more willing to have a normal, unscripted interview. So Donald Trump just completely outworked her, whether you like him or not. I'm gonna say that a lot this video, but he outworked her. And what really sticks out to me is, even beside the podcast, Trump did these little things to really grab voters and my attention and other people's attention. I didn't vote in this election, but he grabbed a lot of people's attention with the McDonald's, working in McDonald's, the garbage man. He had all these memes generating online buzz, and it just got more people talking about him. In an election cycle, good or bad news, you want to be talked about. You want to resonate with the voter. And so Trump, since August, about 11, so he went on since August he went on Theo Vaughn, that got over 14 million views. The Sean Ryan Show, 3.5 on August 22nd. Lex Friedman, September 3rd, 5.1. Flagrant, which is Andrew Scholes, the comedian. The Full Send Podcast by the Nelk Boys on October 14th. Bussin' with the Boys, wow, they didn't even get a million views. They kind of suck. But October 15th, Patrick Bet-David, very, very famous entrepreneur who appears on Rogan a lot and is respected in the industry. 2.7 million views on October 17th. Dan Bongino, I don't even really know much of that, but this guy is, but he's probably banned on YouTube because this is 2.8 million views on Rumble, which is still a lot, honestly, for Rumble. I don't know anyone that watches Rumble. October 18th, Maintaining with Tyrus, I don't know what this is, but October 18th, good for you, 1.1 million views. 6 Feet Under with Mark Calloway, October 21st, so very close. The election was November 5th. He went on Rogan about a week before, 2 weeks before, October 25th, 37.8 million views. It's still counting. I think it's at like 45 million views, I want to say. But Kamala Harris, I think that was a big mistake. It was not Joe Rogan. If you watch the full interview, I watched almost all of it. He did not really press Donald Trump on the issues that a lot of Americans want to learn about. Why he's narcissistic, January 6th, so many things that people don't like Trump for. Kamala, it was a mistake by her campaign team to not go on it, just have a conversation, the show. She kind of hid from podcasts and stuff. Donald Trump, he went on had a long form conversation, probably resonated with a lot of voters. As I said, only older people watch the news, and younger people are leaning towards podcasts. As you can even see here, all the ratings for the news channels since the election have gone down, except Fox News. So in this article, MSNBC averaged 550K viewers since election day, a 39% decline in the network's average in October, and declining. And the Rachel Madden Show, the Liberal Network's highest rated program, drew 1.3 million viewers on Monday, but a million shy of our October average. It was the least watched edition since April 2022. So podcasts and this year's a W for podcasts and new media. As I said, a lot of Americans don't watch cable news. Cable news and radio are past us. That was our parents' generation. So I think from now on, candidates are really going to have to show their authentic self, long-form conversations. Every candidate should be required to do this, I believe, to really explain what they want to do and show who they really are as a person, because we can't really understand who Kamala Harris or Donald Trump are from an hour interview with a teleprompter. We really don't know who we don't know who we really want to vote for. But some other statistics in the election, comparing the 2020 election where Joe Biden won. So it says sex by race, these were exit polls. So 61% of white men voted Republican, 55% white women. Obviously, the black men was skewed way towards Biden. But if you look at 2024, Trump did a lot better than that. 21% for black men, and it was 19 back then. He increased a lot in the Latino category, though. Look at 2020. Biden had 59% Latino men vote, 69% women, and 58% all our races. And Trump, he defeated her in the Latino men. 55% voted Republican, and the women, he gained a lot. He gained 8 percentage points in that. And the other races was neck and neck, where Biden destroyed him in that category. The Latino and Latina voters, the minorities, is the reason why Trump won the election. It wasn't all the white people. The white people kind of voted how they wanted, but I'm sure some people younger people my age don't watch CNN or Fox, and they probably saw Trump on Rogan or any of these 11 podcasts I named before, and we're probably like, oh, all right. I mean, I don't watch the news, so I don't really know how bad this guy is or how good he is, but he seemed pretty cool from these interviews. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'd vote for him, maybe not. That's probably what a lot of Americans probably are thinking, and as the future. And whether Kamala Harris went on 10 podcasts or not and tied Trump or 11, I don't think she would have beaten him. She wasn't well liked in 2020. If you go back and look at the Democratic primaries, she wasn't even in the top 8. We see Biden and Bernie running away with it, Elizabeth Warren, Bloomberg, Pete Buttigieg, Tulsi Gabbard, who switched to Republican, but Kamala Harris was not going to win in 2020. She was not going to win in 2024, and she won't win in 2028 if she runs. She did not do her due diligence. Trump outworked her, and she just wasn't a likable candidate. So even if you think Donald Trump is evil or not, or you just are indifferent, he put together a better campaign, which is why he deserved to win this election. And I think a candidate can't hide anymore. You cannot. Kamala Harris cannot hide from podcasts and other big interviews if she wants to get vote, if she runs again next time, or any Democratic candidate for that matter. There's no hiding. Young people do not watch cable news. It has no effect. We do not watch Brett Baer's Fox interview. I saw clips of it, but I didn't watch the full thing. I don't know anyone that watched the full thing. Everyone's watching podcasts, YouTube, TikTok. That's the future for our generation. So this is really going to be known as the podcast election. Moving and podcasts will just play such a big part. So about 60 years later, cable news is going downhill since 1960 election and other forms of media. So big W for new media and just absolutely insane election cycle we just had. But it should be no surprising, no matter who you vote for, that Donald Trump was going to win this election. Now, thank you guys for watching. A little bit of different video I haven't posted in months, but please like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing, I cover all things pop culture, sports, politics, everything will be on this channel. And thank you guys for watching. Peace.